I think we are live. Holy smokes. Hopefully this is coming through all right. I'm going to do my little trick where I pull it up on my phone, and that tends to make it a little easier. There we go. Okay, so I know I'm getting the right thing. Awesome. All right, but I do have to pull this down for a hot second so I can turn the chat thing back on just in case people have questions. There we go. I think that should be. Yeah, this is one of those things, man. I tell you, we'll get this all sorted out at some point. I have to sort of do the chat, I guess, through the through the phone, maybe. I guess. Yeah. All right. Wow, I'm the only one here. Crazy. Well, I just started. Strip tees. Oh man. So crazy weather. Uh Down in the Southern Ocean. The guys. Oh, Brian, what's up? Cheers. Yeah, I know the beard's getting hefty. Pretty hefty. How's the audio quality? I'm using the new microphone. Hopefully it's okay. But yes, definitely. So are you still sailing right now or on land? Oh, I'm on land. Definitely on land. Have the boat needs a lot of work. I've, fortunately I've been able to pay half for the gallows, so I'm fixing to get those suckers back down to the boat just before well, not before I get back, but just after. Hey Brian, by the way, FYI, bud, I ordered some of those light up bocce balls, and they're there at the marina. So if you guys have a bonfire, let me know, and you just go rip that box open so you guys can have some fun. Anyway, the point of this quick live stream, I was just checking in on the old Golden Globe racers, and uh, it's getting real interesting. Let's say that. I figure most people know that Elliott Smith, he made it. He's in Australia. He's selling his boat. He's done. I see that rolled. You got rolled, but not sure what happened after that. Glad you're okay though. You can just check out the videos, honestly. But yeah, thank you. I'm glad I'm okay too. That was wild. It was definitely absolutely nuts. But yeah, Elliott Smith made it. So he's in Australia now, and they're trying to figure out what to do and all that sort of stuff. But there are, let's see, and I'm gonna do a little double interface here because I know I can use the windy thing on this, but essentially, I can never pronounce this guy's name, but basically you got these two, Kristen and Balash. Um, they're in the middle of the Pacific, and they are well, Kristen's passed through it. It's developing right now, but essentially he's right on the edge of that. But we really have to go to Windy to take a look at what's actually happening. So that's the system that he is in right now, and that's ugly. I mean, right around the center, we're talking 40 knots sustained. You go to the wind gusts, and now you're looking at like gusting into the 60s. Luckily, this is going to be very short lived for him. It should only be uh, another. Oh, actually, well, these are all the wind gusts, but it's basically, yeah, it's gonna be pretty heavy weather. Looking at the size of this system, it's gonna build up the seas down there to something that's really really ugly. And he's gonna be in it for a while. So not a pretty picture at all, but this is the stage of the game. I mean, we're starting to get towards February, so it's really out of the peak of the summer in the Southern Ocean, and this is some ugly stuff that these sailors are getting into. And then, but I mean, it's not crazy bad by any means, because crazy bad in the Southern Ocean is just apocalyptic, but this we're still, when you're dealing with sustained gale force winds down there. It's it's pretty incredible. It's not fun at all by any means, and you got to remember. I mean, look at how isolated these people are down here. I mean, we're talking the middle of nowhere. They're close to Point Nemo. Point Nemo's just a bit south of where they are right now, and that's the two that are in second and third place. But yeah, this system sort of came up, and yeah, it's definitely oh, that is not a forecast you want. So right now, that guy, um, honestly, like this is the crazy thing. When I look at these and I picture sort of what's going on, this is like he's down there and it's insane. It's windy as hell. He's just probably holding on for dear life. The waves are probably getting really sketchy. The moon's not out. It's not. It's just not a good scene. You know, the one thing that is positive about the position and everything is just basically that, you know, they don't have any sort of crazy counter currents or anything like that going against them. So typically the waves and everything like that are not going to get too crazy, but there's a pretty, you know, luckily there's not a huge shift in the wind. Let me just fast forward just a skosh because he's pretty much already in the predominantly westerly or southwesterlies, and it kind of moves out of the way for sure. But I mean, even that right there, a day or two from now, it's still like, whew, it's going to be rough conditions for quite a while. But kind of the interesting thing is, all right, so that's them. Look at our race leader. This is the one that Simon. He's kind of in a bit of a pickle. So right now winds are pretty light. He's still doing pretty good as far as the speed goes, but it's what that system does over the next few days that is actually pretty worrisome. So if we sort of we skip ahead a little bit, and I would like to zoom out if I could. Let me zoom out. Do. Backside and gain some distance. Kristen can ride the backside. Yeah, she might be able to. I mean, it's it's you know, it's anybody's race still. I mean, anybody that thinks it's all over is sort of crazy. Here we go though. Look at this. Let me zoom out one more time. Okay, so that's the system, and sometimes these Southern Ocean lows just keep developing and developing and growing into just these massive giants. And you got to realize this. So this system's already building up the waves. Okay, so Simon's down there, and he's making probably 160 miles per day. So he's going to get further to the southeast as this thing grows in size and intensity. So he's going to get rolled over essentially by this system in about 2 days' time. So I would estimate he's going to be somewhere around there. I'm surprised that the well, I guess I'm not surprised that he's still just plugging away because they, you know, there's no real escape. We're not in fast enough boats here. If you were in some sort of Volvo boat, you could sort of head a bit north and then ride the edge of that. But obviously you can't do that. Um, but yeah, look at this thing. It just keeps developing and developing. It gets bigger and bigger and uglier. Those waves are going to be absolutely vicious. I mean, you know, it's not absolute hell on earth or anything like that, but it is. That's a system right there where, you know, think about it. Just a regular boat totally can get absolutely destroyed in something like this. You can get rolled, you can get hit by that random wave, and then basically you're toast. But I mean, that's here's the thing, because they're so far south now, the rest of it is going to keep building, and it's going to be like a double header, and it's just going to be sloppy. And anything past that far in the forecast, I don't think really matters too much. But you know, it is one of those things where this is going to be pretty exciting to watch. I mean, look at these systems. Just oh man, if that comes true right there, that really is just. Uh, Just imagining what it would be like to be down there doing that and going through these systems. It was really kind of interesting because some of the old Cape Horners, when Bernard Moitessier was planning his voyage, he had actually reached out to a lot of these old tall ship guys and stuff like that, and they had said, you know, the wintertime the winds blow really hard in the Southern Ocean, but they're more consistent. They were always weary about the summertime low pressure systems because they could be far more violent, even though they were less, they didn't happen all that often. So kind of something to think about. But boy, look at that, and that's, I mean, geez, that's so far out in the forecast. There's no way they can predict that. But boy, ugh, that is not the time to be down that far. That is for sure. So I don't know. It's pretty crazy. Like I said, it's anybody's game at this point. And essentially, I think those four. There's one more, not Jeremy, because Jeremy ended up hauling out to scrape the bottom of his boat, but Ian. So Ian's in fifth place, and so it's just those five. One, two, three, four, five. And that's pretty much it. And then, well, I mean, you've got Guy and you've got Jeremy. They're in the Chichester class, and so they're gonna keep on continuing on. I mean, really, they're in pretty good shape as far as timing goes because I mean, when I think about the timing of my trip at this point in time, end of January, beginning of February, I was probably somewhere in between Guy and maybe Jeremy, I suppose, somewhere in there. I didn't round the horn until April, so they've all got plenty of time. I don't think it really matters all that much to race to Cape Horn before the end of February or anything like that. But it's going to be interesting. I'm going to have to definitely keep my eyes on the race here and on the weather as things intensify. But I mean, looking at some of these systems, it could easily, I think, become. I mean, because all right, so if I just throw the gusts up, let's just look at the gusts. Oh Lord. Okay, so we got that's the system. That's Cape Horn. Um, oh, look at this. So it's just rolling over. Oh my gosh. I mean, that's just gonna produce really big waves. Ah, huge swell. Holy cow. I'm almost jealous because one of the cool things is to be able to look at those swell and you get into the situation where you can fit literally a football stadium in between these waves. And oh man, so cool. Another video's got to run. Be safe. Thank you. Hey, no worries. Yeah, that's some really standard Southern Ocean weather there for sure. Holy cow. And most of the other times that I checked in, they seem to be sort of sailing in a pretty nice Southern Ocean summer. They used to say that you get one good summer out of three down there, and this one seems to have been pretty good. But look at this. Oh, look at these. And again, this is just the gusts, but I mean those are pretty big gusts. 51 knots. I don't want to be out in that. No way. Not a chance. But this is the excitement of Southern Ocean sailing. So I don't know, pretty crazy. Gosh, it's just wild, absolutely wild down there. So we'll have to sort of see. But just to give you an idea as far as the currents go, real quick, before I wrap this up, this is just going to be a short little update because I don't have a ton to say. But it's all pretty much streaming, you know, to the east and around Cape Horn. A little bit of current action here for sure, which is kind of sketchy, but none of them are around there. Tell you what, this is where some of the weird currents get all the stuff in the South Tasman in between Tasmania and New Zealand. I remember getting caught up in some really nasty stuff down there. Waves got super steep, and it was all just these crazy. weird counter currents. But the real dangerous one, obviously, is right here, the Agulhas. But I think, the Agulhas and the Gulf Stream, I think, are very comparable as far as their proximity to standard sort of storms systems that are around. So down there, they're getting a Southern Ocean low that comes up, and you get super strong southwesterly winds, and you hit one of these currents. I mean, look at this. What's it going? A 3 knot. You hit a 3 knot counter current. Oh my God, forget about it. You're talking like hell on earth. Then you cruise up to the old Gulf Stream, and it's the same sort of thing. You get a big nor'easter rolling off of Cape Hatteras, and it hits this current right here, the old Gulf Stream. Again, 3.4. Oh man, yeah. I mean, it really, it's it's pretty incredible how much that affects how crazy the uh, how crazy the waves and everything get. Hey, do you announce your live streams ahead of time? I keep missing them. No, I don't. I just don't know. It's sort of whenever the mood strikes, I guess. Unless I have like a certain topic. If I know I'm gonna do one, then I will for sure announce a live stream. But I sometimes, like tonight, I was just looking at the Golden Globe, and I saw the weather getting pretty rough, so I figured I'd just hop one on, because I know that YouTube saves them, so they're there. I have like a playlist for them and stuff. So I just sort of, it's all completely 100% off the cuff. I was doing a podcast with a buddy of mine, but it turned into just like a regular conversation between two friends, and he was a little nervous, and I think he had a couple of beers, so I don't know if I'm gonna actually use that one or not. I'm up here in Michigan. I don't know if you can tell. I got a scarf on. It's freezing cold out. Oh, I should probably angle that a little bit. But I needed to take a break from the boat and sort of mentally assess my situation and figure out what the heck's going on. Because I don't know. The future, I like to think that the future always looks bright because you sort of make it your own, but your phone goes beep. But yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to figure out what the heck I'm gonna do and how I'm gonna do it. I'm uh, I'm trying to be a bit more realistic when it comes to future adventures, and you know, I'm on my third sort of disastrous adventure, which isn't bad, and it's not all just because of one stupid reason or anything like that. But the last bunch of trips have been um, I don't want to say shoestring, but honestly, that's exactly what they've been. They've been on a shoestring budget, and I have had to be, I'm working a full time job while I'm trying to get a boat ready to go and set sail for months at a time, and it's not working. And I have to figure out a different way. Whether it's just, instead of trying to go every single year, wait like a year or two so that I have all the time to be able to do everything and save the money, or whatever. I don't know. But I'm trying to just sort of figure things out a little bit, and you know, figure out a game plan, because I want to go back out there, and I really, really have been enjoying sort of sharing everything with everybody, as far as like social media stuff, YouTube and the clips and all the stories and all that sort of stuff. But it's one of those things where, like, those videos, if you tried to account for how much it cost me to make one of those, as far as time, money, and broken equipment, it's astronomically bad for me. So I don't know. I mean, I'm not worried about it, and it's not the goal. The goal isn't to like make money. The goal is to be able to just do more trips, but I can't keep losing my ass on all this sort of stuff. Oh man. But in any event, yeah, I don't know. I don't want to rant and rave about that, because that's more personal stuff, I suppose. But yeah, that weather. Hey, how about that weather out there? Look at those systems. Oh my God, it's so crazy. The Southern Ocean is just absolutely nuts. Look at this. If I go through fast, it's just like system after system after system, just tunneling their way around. Basically, you could say, "Oh, look at that one coming up from Antarctica." Oh my God, and that's down in the screaming 60s. Remember, all these sailors have to go all the way down to about 57 degrees south to get around Cape Horn. And then once you get around it, then you still have 17 degrees of latitude to get at least out of the Southern Ocean proper. It's sort of a scary proposition, I will tell you that. It's one of those things, though. When I think about it, I'm kind of glad I did it for sure, as an experience. But boy, I don't know if I'd want to do that again. Look at this thing. Oh my God. I mean, can you imagine you get wrapped up in that? When I think back, the original Golden Globe with back in 68 and 69, so crazy. So when Bill King, I believe it's Bill King. Yeah, I think it's Bill King. He had the junk rigged catch that was specially designed for the trip. And then Mortissier's buddy, I think his name was Fougeron or something, were both down in the South Atlantic, and they got absolutely walloped by a huge storm. I think King was saying it was like 100 knot winds or something like that under a full moon and a clear sky. And he remembers looking out at one point and being lifted up on this huge wave and seeing a bird actually fly underneath his bow. I don't put a lot of credence in that because it's usually when the winds get over 50 knots sustained, you don't see birds much anymore after that, but I don't know. I could be wrong. What's roughly the air temp at that latitude? Down in the 50s and 60s. Oh, dude, it's snowing for sure. As soon as I crossed 50 degrees south, which was in the end of March, snow. There was never any more rain. It was always snow and hail and all that sort of stuff. When I got around Cape Horn, I want to say it was about 28 degrees or something like that. So it's definitely chilly. And that's technically in their fall. So right now, I would say maybe it's not quite as cold right now, but probably pretty close. Because I mean, we're talking, you're essentially talking about being next to Antarctica. Once you get down to like 55 degrees and south of that, you're only a few hundred miles away from Antarctica. So it's gonna be pretty chilly. Uh, you can definitely guarantee that one. And there's icebergs, and there's all sorts of uh, terrible, terrible things that as a sailor you don't ever want to have to deal with. I would think. Oh man. So crazy. Oh, what's this little thing? That's why I love Windy. You just get on here and you can see the entire earth. Look at that. That looks like a cyclone or a baby cyclone that's rubbing up against Madagascar. Look at that thing. Oh my gosh. Just feeding off of that hot water in that current. Oh man, yeah, look at that. Weird. See, and that's like that Agulhas current's running right here. That's going to be ugly, ugly waves. Wow, look at that. Absolutely unbelievable. The world's weather, it's just so crazy to be able to see all this at the click of a button. I mean, when I'm out on the ocean, as much as I like to trust in the forecasts that I'm getting and stuff, typically I'm just looking at the clouds around me and just kind of keeping a rough estimate on the old barometer to tell if anything's brewing. But boy, to be able to see the whole thing. I mean, you got to think if you're a sailboat out there in the Atlantic, even zoomed in like this far, just this teeny tiny little dot. And these systems, look at them. They're just moving so fast. Atlantic's really calmed down quite a bit. It's pretty incredible compared to the fall. I'll tell you, this is so much more normal as far as the systems coming off of our East Coast compared to what we saw this fall when I decided I was going to go sailing. I mean, this is super standard right here. So System comes off. It's ugly. It rolls on out. Look at that. 2 days later, we've got nice westerlies, and we're just cruising. It's all good. A little something out there, nothing big, a little calm patch. Then about a week later, we get a little system that comes off. Oh, that one dissipates. And then we get the next one a few days after that. Like this is, well, that's pretty exceptional right there. That's a little excessive. That's where it all gets really bad though, the North Atlantic way up there. But I mean, for traveling, this is why this is a great time to sail down to the Caribbean, to sail across from like the Canaries to the Caribbean. This is just like everything's sort of settled in the old wintertime motion. And you got to deal with a little bit of weather here and there, but it's primarily it's all settled right into what it should be, and that's nice. Ah, I'd love to be out there right now. Holy smokes. I'd love to be like if I don't even want to say it, but had that one wave not not struck and stricken Sparrow and I would probably be I'd probably be somewhere down here near the South Atlantic High, I would think. And I'd sort of be just sort of floating around, looking at all the garbage and all that stuff that's in the garbage patch, and then slowly trying to make my way back into the trades and set a course for St. Helena and then Ascension Island. Oh, to dream one day. Odd one out. Hey, what's up, odd one out? The weather, sailing weather, in the South Atlantic. Woo! Those trades are great. Back in 2004, I helped take a catamaran from Cape Town to uh, the British Virgin Islands. The South Atlantic trades are just so perfect. They're absolutely amazing as far as that wind belt. I mean, no squalls. There was nothing. It was just put the spinnaker up and go, 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 go until you hit the doldrums and then, try and figure that out. But we had a lot of fuel on that boat. And then you hit those northeast trades. But when I was on Sparrow, guaranteed, absolutely without a doubt, the most consistent wind I've ever had in my life. Got past the doldrums right around here somewhere. And from here all the way up to I passed by Dominica, real close in the Caribbean. I only had to touch the sails twice, two times, two sail changes in 12 days. It was ridiculous. Like I literally didn't know what to do with myself. Uh, you could sleep all you wanted. There's no traffic. Nothing was going on. It was gorgeous out. There was a lot of Sahara dust at that time, but I was essentially like almost stir crazy because there literally wasn't anything changing on the boat, and so you just had hours and hours and hours to just sort of do what you were doing. Why do you like sailing instead of powerboats? I I like powerboats for sure. But I sailing to me has this sort of mystique about it where you can get from point A to point B just using your sails and it doesn't cost a whole lot of money compared to a powerboat. Plus, if you wanted to powerboat out to a place like Bermuda from the East Coast, logistically, you're going to need a pretty damn big powerboat to do that. And on a 32-foot sailboat, I can go and rip out there. Heck, I sailed around the world and I only had 50 gallons of diesel with me. So um, I think the ability to use the wind completely as your power source is what I find very alluring, and it's a challenge, and it's like a dance. Not to sound too like la la or whatever, but like you're dancing with Mother Nature when you're sailing, and it's freaking cool. When you get it dialed in, there's really nothing like it, and you're just flying along, and Sparrow weighs about 13 or 15 tons, and we get powered up on a good day and we're just pushing water out of the way and all I'm doing is harnessing the wind and it's just the most amazing feeling, and the sound is just whew, and there's no engine and all that sort. Oh man, it's absolutely miraculous, you know. I think honestly, probably that's one of the biggest things is there's no sound. You know, you don't have to listen to some engine roaring away. You're actually just, manipulating or not manipulating. Well, I guess you kind of are because you bend the wind around the sails, but it's pretty crazy. Oh, Thomas Murphy in the house. Murph, I was actually talking to buddy of mine tonight doing a podcast, and you came up because we were talking about dogs. My friend's got a couple dogs, and I've always wanted to have a dog on the boat. And although I still, I'm not going to do that, he asked me what I would name the dog, and I said, "Oh, without question, Murph." Oh man, for sure. So, kudos to you, fine sir, old Thomas Murph. All right, well, I think that's my rant and rave for this lovely evening here in northern Michigan. It's about to get real cold up here. We're going to get some northerly winds or something, and we're dropping down finally into the teens. We only got snow like a week ago. Before that, it was green grass and all sort of stuff, which for northern Michigan, way northern Michigan, that's pretty crazy. So, in any event, hopefully this made some sense. I don't know, but definitely keep those sailors in mind. They're definitely going through some ugly stuff. Let's just quickly remember that right here inside of the heart of this baby, there is a sailor right about there who is dealing with full on severe gale conditions, and it's not going to be fun, and it's not going to get better anytime soon. So, if you can, and I know it's not the easiest thing unless you've been in sort of bad conditions like that, but if I picture what it's like in my head right now, I'm just really glad I'm not out there and I'm sitting on a comfortable couch. That is for sure. So, thoughts and good vibes, and hopefully everything goes well throughout the night for him, and then we'll see how this storm develops as it heads closer and closer to our number one contestant, Simon. And hopefully everybody survives all this without any damage or injury. So thanks everybody for joining in the live stream and the comments and everything. Murph, talk to you later, bud. And other than that, thanks. And until